What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I hope everyone's keeping well. Today you're going to want to stay tuned for the entirety of this one. You don't want to miss out on this reveal because I received a special mysterious package from Raid themselves yesterday. And it came in kind of like a flat pack. I was thinking maybe a t-shirt, right? Because for anyone that was aware from beforehand, the last time that I received a special package was when they released the Hydra boss into the game. And then they gave us all of these t-shirts to spell out the Hydra to basically reveal it to the community. Now, I'm going to say that they've done something very similar here, and there's a reason why we're sitting in the portal, because you may have seen from the thumbnail that I believe that Mythical Champions, well, definitely Mythical Champions are coming to the game, guys. Now, just for a bit of backstory, you know what, when you're younger and you're playing pass to parcel in party games and stuff, and there's little gifts in between each of the wrapping. I was opening this thing up and I was like, how much smaller can this get? This isn't a t-shirt unless it's like a wristband or something. I had no clue what I was thinking, right? But basically, I ended up with this, okay? And thank God that the delivery man he was trying to squeeze it through the door, and then I had to open it and say, relax, man. I got you, bro. I'll take it. But basically, inside, don't want to reveal, actually I do want to reveal it, but I wanted to show the suspense because we've got something interactive to show you guys. So, I received this. It's kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh card in a sense. It's pretty good quality. I might put in a little frame and put it on my desk. But basically, it's like a hologram of two different champions from what I first thought anyway, right? Before we go into this, because I haven't got the full details, we're going to reveal it together. And then on the back, there is a QR code, right? There's a QR code, and it says Rarity, Mythical, Affinity, Spirit, and Attack, Champion. Right? So, yeah. So we've got some new champions to speak about, at the very least. And the card was a really cool way because I didn't expect that, guys. I didn't expect that. And then, basically, now, if we bring up this screen capture, here we go, guys. All right? We've got a mythical shard in this interactive thing that the QR code sent me to. And I'm assuming that once I click this, we're going to be revealed the new legendary or mythical champions. So without further ado, let's open up this mythical shard. What are we going to get? We're looking for those amazing champions here. Well, that's pretty cool. The interactive darkness. Let's go. Of course, it's probably going to be the champion that's on the card, but... Okay, so a Mezamo Luperfang. So this was the name that was on the package that was delivered to me. Before we break down the skills, looks really cool, right? In terms of aesthetics and stuff. But what's this? Glowing at me. Okay. Mezomel Luperfang. So it's the same name. Oh, guys, it's morphing. It's morphing. That makes complete sense because on the card, well, I didn't really think of this. I thought it was maybe two separate champions, from the same faction or something. But you can see on the card, right? This is the original form. You move it, and there's the morphed form in a sense, right? That's pretty cool. That's a new mechanic that's being added to the game. How powerful and effective it's going to be, I'm not too sure, but we're about to deep dive into it right now. So let's just start with a bit of this lore on the side. So myths begin with the kernel of truth. Even if it is tiny, the myth that skinwalkers are influenced by the moon originates with Mezomel Luperfang, scion of the moonlight, though most of Telarians are unaware of her tale. After generations of misunderstanding and exaggeration, many wrongly believe skinwalkers go mad in the light of the full moon and transform, becoming hulking, monstrous dissertations of their basic forms. And I'm not going to read the entire thing as there's literally 7 pages of lore here. But let's just see if there's any other notable champions that might be throughout this, because as far as I'm aware, all of the content creators are given a unique champion to themselves. So mine is this one. There might be other creators out there that have similar ones to me or the same one. I'm not too sure. But the way that I kind of anticipated it was that whoever has other ones will basically have different champions, which I'll go out and look for straight after this once they go live. But Shu, it's one that's sticking out to me here. It's a new champion name, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I'm pretty sure there's probably some other stuff in here that basically has some correlation, but there we go. I'm excited to see the kit, man. So let's start with the A1 on the original form. With the Moonclaw, attacks one enemy and places a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. So good A1, right? It's a good A1. On the A2, Scarlet Crescent attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore Stone Skin, Strengthen, Ally Protection, and Shield buffs, whilst also placing a Block Revive debuff if the target is killed. Wowza. Okay, so this reads pretty impressive to me on paper, right? And we don't know the exact base stats or how they're going to be ascended or if they get any kind of extra conditions here just by being mythical champions, because there's no ignore defense effect in here, which is one thing that's a little bit concerning if you want to look at her as a top tier nuker for single target. I always like to have some form of ignore defense conditions to be able to penetrate through those crazy high threshold champions. But, you know, it is ignoring a lot of conditions here, and depending on base stats, it might hit relatively hard, but being able to ignore that many conditions is very strong, right? Now, on the Moonlight Gift, places an increased attack, and an increased crit rate, and an increased crit damage on this champion for 3 turns, then will grant an extra turn. So you basically open up with this, you lead into this one, and potentially kill one of your targets with that block revive as well. So even if you're not ignoring defense, right? Let's just say there's maybe a nuker in it, for instance, and you just want to get them out the way, should be strong enough to maybe go through that and kill one of those targets. Just how valuable will it be unless there's some other ignore defense conditions throughout the kit here, right? Relentless Hunt heals this champion by 20% of the damage inflicted, then will place a revive on death buff on this champion for 2 turns every time they kill an enemy. Okay, that's pretty quirky, right? Some revive on death mechanics and some healing to coincide with the rest of the kit. So first impressions, pretty decent, right, for a nuker here. But I think like the one downside is like, now that I'm just thinking about it, how hard is it going to be to get these champions and acquire them? Like when we think about prism shards, like they kind of change the thresholds all the time, right? It's like the first time it was like 20 and then they put it to 80. And if this shard is coming into the game, how hard is it going to be to be able to obtain these champions, right? Which we'll discuss straight afterwards, some ways that I think they might implement them into it. And then we've also got this Metamorph skill on a 4-turn cooldown and transforms this champion into their alternate form, then grants an extra turn. Interesting. So let's Metamorph her real quick. Let's go into the darkness. And the form looks pretty cool, right? Big fan of this one. I like it. So on the A1, Spirit of the Pack attacks all enemies, and this attack will not trigger counterattacks, and then will place an extra hit on enemies under True Fear conditions. Okay. So I'm assuming there's truth in the rest of the kit. Okay, there is. So yeah, it could be pretty decent maybe in like Doom Tower scenarios or whatever that may be, or even in the arena, just to deal some bonus damage. On the A2, Life Shredder places that True Fear, and this attack will not trigger counterattacks once again. So they're kind of very heavy on not being counted, right? And will also ignore unkillable and block damage. So the first morph, Metamorph, ignores Stone Skin, Strength, and Ally Protection, Shield, and places Block Revive. And then if you lead into this one, he basically ignores the rest of the conditions to maybe counter like a Helicath or someone of that caliber. So it's an interesting synergy, right? We've got a Metamorph to go back to the base form as well. Okay. And then Embrace the Beast. Increase this champion's attack and crit damage by 20% whilst in their alternate form. So in this form that he is right now. And crit rate in all battles by 27%, which is actually on the high side, right? I believe it's usually like 24% as far as I'm aware. So maybe coming in as one is the highest crit rate auras in the game, coming out from Mezomel Luperfang. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this champion, guys. Like, it might not be the most powerful of all the ones you may see from the other content creators, but on paper, like, it is a good champion, right? I'm just really scared of how hard it's going to be to get. And where they're even going to be able to be obtainable from. Like, Prism Shards at the moment is like purchasing and then participating in tournaments and events, and you know, some of them are really high thresholds, and you get a summon, and, you know, there's like rares in the mix sometimes, and epic champions. Like, if we get these mythical shards by any means necessary to be able to get them, and they're starting to put like rares and epics into those mixes, I don't know if that's going to go down well, right? Like, if they're going to do this, it might be a way where you maybe gather mythical fragments from around the game and tournaments to be able to get this summon. And then boom, you might guarantee yourself one of these mythical champions. But I wouldn't want to be seeing rares or something out of these shards, if I'm honest, right? We do have a bit of a scroll down section here. Okay, this is pretty cool. So mythical champions are a brand new champion rarity in Raid Shadow Legends that have access to 2 forms, each of its own look and skills, and mythical champions can have varying roles across their 2 forms, such as attacking their base form and supporting their alternate forms. Okay, we kind of did see that, right? We got like the damage build coming out from the first one, and then we had like the True Fears coming out from the second one, and like some crowd control in the mix. So, you know, I kind of see where they're coming from with that. But maybe they might have like a different one where it's like they're an attack-based champion, and then the other form is going to be like a Duchess Reviver in a sense, and it's just like 2 completely different champions. But one downside is, it's like, do you guys feel, well, let me know in the comment section below, that these champions are going to have like separate ways to build them, right? Because if I was going to build like a crowd control champion, I'm looking for accuracy, I'm looking for speed, I'm looking for like all of these things. But then in this kind of build, I want savage and lethal and trying to optimize damage. So if they can give us a way to maybe have 2 separate builds for alternate forms, that could be a cool take as well, right? Looking forward anyway, if they're kind of going down this route. They use a unique skill called Metamorph, which can change between these 2 forms. It's like having 2 champions in one, which we just broke down initially. Other unique aspects of mythical champions include higher base stats to legendary champions. Okay, this can be really impactful, like more than meets the eye here, because like the scalability of a champion is going to be going off those base stats, right? Whether that be attack percent, defense percent. So you can see where the stats are really going to be powering up here. If the base stats are really more higher than what we're used to. Let's just say we got like 2,200 base attack or something crazy like that. That's going to be crazy in the grand scheme of things, right? Metamorph skills cannot have their cooldowns increased or decreased. Oh, that's interesting, guys. Okay, so this basically is like, I'm trying to like read this correct here. I don't want to say it wrong. Metamorph skills cannot have their cooldowns increased or decreased. So I'm assuming this one here, the Metamorph. So let's just say like they open up with Yumiko or Warlord. They lock out your skills, right? And then you're like, oh damn, like I'm out of my skills. I've got no way to counter this. You could basically still have the Metamorph available, go into the next alternate form and maybe have your other skills available from the alternate champion, which would actually be a really cool synergy to counter some of those cooldown effect metas in the arena. So I'm kind of liking that. I'm liking that counter there. Really quirky and interesting to counter these. I really hope there's going to be a way where you could choose which one you want to open up with. Like, do you want to open up with like the crowd controlling one and the support one? Or do you want to open up with your nuking one in a sense, right? So then you've got more flexibility throughout your mythical champions. Skills that gain and ignore resistance bonus when upgraded via mythical tomes. Oh, okay. So they ignore resistance. There's an extra bonus by using mythical tomes. Okay, that's interesting. See, I was kind of thinking, like, do you know what I was mentioning? Like, is there going to be a bonus thing for the ignore defense just by being a mythical champion? It seems like they're having something bonus, but it's going to be ignore resistance for more of those debuff-orientated champions. So, yeah, that's interesting, I guess. They're primarily available via summoning from Primal Shards. So that's going to be the name of it. It's going to be Mythical Champions, but it's not going to be called Mythical Shard. It's going to be Primal Shards, right? But it's interesting. It's interesting, right? I'm just trying to think of like how, like, I'm excited for this. I always love quirky new things. Like, this is a whole new dynamic coming into Raid, right? It is exciting, but it really comes down to like the scalability of it. Like, how hard is it going to be mythically ascending these champions, and then also getting the mythical books? Like, how hard is it to get legendary skill tomes in this day and age without purchasing them? How hard are they going to be to acquire, or how do you even acquire them? Because we haven't got really any reference to that. I'm kind of in the dark, the same as you guys. Now, if we just go into the game very briefly, right? I feel like this is important to note. So let's just go into, take up the screen capture. Straight away, pack offers. I was thinking like, all right, right now we've got the Iron Twins Fortress, our source of soul stones in the game, right? Or resources for them. We've got stuff like the Hydra boss, 4 soul stones in particular. We've got the clan boss that scales up to sacred shards, right, with the drop info. So one thing I was thinking of, the Great Void, is something that I've banged on about for a long time. I've kind of been anticipating this because I just love the clan boss in this game. I would love to see a new mechanic. So potentially, it could be the Great Void coming out with these mythical aspects or fragments or shards, however they're going to do it. But you guys let me know in the comment section below. 1, how would you like these to be acquired, including the books as well, by the way. And 2, like, your overall thoughts on this. Like, in general, are you excited for this coming into the game? What kind of synergies would you like to be had from these champions? And all of that good stuff. I don't know, there's so much to think about, guys, of how they're going to do this, but hopefully they get the nail on the head. They make it obtainable without having to, oh, interesting, I'm buying that. They make it obtainable without having to purchase them, right? Regardless of how it's done, even if it's endgame stuff, make sure that players are at least be able to get like maybe 1 or 2 a month or whatever that may be, and basically catering to the players that's playing this game every single day to be able to acquire these champions. But yeah, on that note, I guess that's going to be all for the video, guys. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know if this champion was like the best one that you've seen out there, or was some of the other content creators having champions of a much higher caliber. Have an amazing rest of your day, guys, and I'll catch you all in a video soon. Peace.